everyone, welcome to another episode of the Growth Conversation podcast. We are happy that you decided to join us on this podcast, on this episode. My name is Linda and I'm here with my co-host Gabriel.
Yes, and once again we thank you very much for always following us. For those of you that have shared our content, those of you that have left us reviews, those of you that have liked, thank you very much. Keep on supporting us. We are doing great. And for those of us who are constantly asking questions, we also want to appreciate you. It is what we use to make our next episodes.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate your support, your encouragement, your comments, everything that you said. We really appreciate, and you make us do whatever we can to put out more videos and more podcasts. So today our topic was chosen by Gabriel, and he will tell us why and what is the name of the topic.
Wow, yes, today our topic is master your mind.
Yeah.
And maybe just to share what it is about, it is how you can learn how your mind works, and how you can harness it or use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
You see, in life, our mind is like our engine.
Yeah.
It is what keeps us going.
Moving,
It is what gives the direction of where we are headed. So it's the compass of life.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you would learn how it works, then it would take you where you want to go.
Yeah.
But if you never learn how it functions, then it will always land you in places you did not intend to be. Yeah. So what would be your thought on mind? What is a mind? And what do we mean by mastering your mind?
Mastering your mind, I think for me, is just being present to whatever is going on in your mind. Like knowing exactly what is going on in your mind and how you can control it, to master whatever is going on in your mind, to be your own control.
Yeah.
Because we are controlled by different things, our environment, situations, circumstances. But once you know how to control your mind, despite whatever is going on, I think that is really mastering your mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I concur with you. So our mind is like a garden.
Yeah.
It is like a garden. It doesn't care what you put. Either you plant weeds, they grow. You plant vegetables, they grow. Whatever you put in the mind, it grows. It has the capacity to grow. And therefore, our mind is much more controlled by inputs. The inputs that are coming to our minds determine what it is that is growing in our mind.
In our minds,
yeah. And therefore, the first and the main key to control our mind is to control the inputs.
Whatever is going in.
Whatever that is coming in from whatever sources. Because we have many sources. We can hear, we can see, we can read. There are many sources, there are many inputs to the mind.
Yeah.
But whatever that comes into the mind, it shall grow.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
So can we talk about the things that we can do to master our mind, like how we can master our mind?
Yes, absolutely.
And I have some points that we discussed about, and one is learn to pause and think.
Yes.
Can that be one of the ways to master your mind?
Yes, it is. It is. You see, we are in a world where we are so focused on responding, replying, answering. Anytime Linda asks me a question, I'm already looking for which answer to give her, even sometimes without thinking what she really was asking.
Yeah, true.
And in that space where we find ourselves, we are always trying and hustling to get answers. You can easily miss out on what it is that your mind is saying, what it is that is your intention, or what it is that the other person was actually asking for or saying. All right. So it is very key that you learn to pause and listen first, and then you can measure your answer before you say it. So one of the most commonly used idea in psychology is to count 1 to 10 before replying. If you can be able to take a count of 1 to 10 before saying whatever you want to say, you're probably not going to say exactly what you wanted to say in the beginning, because it gives you a moment of consideration. And as you consider, in that way now you are learning what your mind was originally giving you and how the thoughts have changed to what you finally say. All right. So in that way you have learned to master the mind and not just let it run wild and giving you any kind of content it has. You are trying to tame it.
It reminds me on the topic that we talked about the art of communication, where you have to, one of the points was just to learn to be an active listener. So pausing makes you learn how to be active in listening. So when you pause, you are able to understand what the other person is really saying, and also gives you the time to think about what you're going to say. And just talking about mastering your mind, it's not only about the time that you are replying to somebody, but in all circumstances. When something happens, take time, first of all, think about it, relax. You can't give a good feedback in a hurry. Something happens, like we are constantly on the move, so sometimes try and pause, think about whatever is going on before you take any action. Because it's better to to pause than to regret whatever you're going to do,
whatever you are going to do in a hurry, or whatever you're going to say in a hurry.
So the other one is being mindful
of the circumstances, being mindful of the other person, being mindful of yourself, and being mindful of everything that surrounds a situation. Most of the times we find ourselves in a situation where we are literally separate from the situation.
From the situation.
You are speaking to someone, but your focus is in what you want to say, what is in your mind,
what you're thinking,
or how you are seeing things, and you are completely isolated from the realities around you. And that is why we are talking about being mindful. How can you be mindful? It is like immersing yourself into the situation. All right, you immerse yourself where the happening is happening, so you can be able to see it from 360 angle. You don't see it from one side, your side, or see it from the other person's sides only. You can be able to see from all
the
angles,
360
degrees, including the environment, including yourself, including the other person, and any other factor that could be included.
Being mindful helps you to, like when you're mindful, you're really compassionate about the other person, right? So you can only master your mind when you are mindful on what you're going to say, on the action that you're going to take. Because you can't control your mind if you can't stop yourself from doing certain things. And that's why we talked about pausing. Pause can help you in being mindful. When somebody comes with an insulting word, for you to pause and think about it will help you to be mindful on whatever you're going to answer them, or the action that you're going to take. Because when you pause, you think about, where is this person coming from? Why is he insulting me? Maybe it's just having a bad day, or it was just a mistake, you overheard your own things. So it helps you to be mindful. So the first point that we talked about, pausing, helps you to be mindful. So you have to pause to be mindful. Think always before you do. Think before you do. The other one is to be rational, analyze everything from all sides before conclusion.
What do we mean by being rational? Being rational is more to do with analyzing, taking the logic, taking the sense, not always following the emotion. You see, we are very emotional people, and sometimes in the heat of the emotion, we separate thinking from the emotions. And now we answer everything, and whatever we want to do or whatever we want to say is purely emotional. We have not thought about it, right? So rationality means we want to separate ourselves from the emotion. Maybe someone has insulted you, or a situation has happened to you and you feel you are emotionally torn. What you need to do is step outside your emotion and take the logic behind the actions. Take the logic, think of the sense behind the happening before you think of the emotion in the happening.
Can you take an example of when you're arguing with somebody? That can really help when you step aside.
Maybe I can give an example that has happened to me today. As I was driving, and someone called me and they started insulting me because of something they think I should have done differently. All right, but in my opinion, the way I did it was the correct way. And so I was in a situation: do I answer them back, or do I first of all listen to what they are saying? All right, or do I defend myself? And I personally had to pause, because I realized this person, one thing, is angry. So if I respond to them with anger, I'm going to now make it worse. Right? So the first thing I thought is just listen to him, and then out of the listening, then I had to reply to him from my point of view. All right, and I told him, that is how you view it, this is how I view it, and this is what happened. So I was able to separate the heat of the anger to now bring him down to a place where we could reason. We could reason and have a conversation between me and him. You see, that is how you step aside from the emotion. Because obviously the moment someone is abusing you, there's that anger moment, right? And if you deal with them from that anger, then you miss out the point. You even miss out what they wanted to say.
And you are not able to control your mind from that.
And from that point, then your mind is lost. You have lost the mind. So you end up not using your mind properly.
And that's why we're talking about mastering your mind. Mastering your mind really means, like you said, when you're arguing with somebody, to be in a place where you can be rational. Know that this is my emotion and this is the real situation. How can I differentiate the two? Am I really angry right now, or am I in a position where I can answer this person? So when you feel like you are not in a position to answer, it's okay to step aside. Even when you're arguing with somebody, sometimes just step aside. You might look like a fool, but at the end of the day, you know what you're doing.
At the moment,
maybe you are not in a position to answer because they made you more angry. So you're stepping aside for you to cool down before you come and continue with the conversation, when everything has settled down.
And also when now you are trying to do this, you are able also to see the other person from their perspective, because you might also miss their perspective because of your emotion. Right? You lack the rationality, so you don't see the perspective they are trying to present.
The other person.
So it is key that you are rational. Try to bring sense in everything.
True.
Try to bring sense. Whatever the feeling, whatever the emotion, at least have some sense in it.
So that brings us to another point. Be positive.
Be positive. You see, the mind, as we have said, is a garden. There's no way you will go in a garden and plant weeds and then expect you will harvest vegetables. All right. So if you are constantly negative, your input is constantly negative, the result of your life is going negative. And there's no way you can change that, because it is what you are putting in that comes out. It is what you are putting in that comes out. And maybe just to add this part is that in the mind we have two parts. We have the conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is the mind that we are using right now, is the mind that we are using, we are thinking with things, we are doing rationality with. But the subconscious mind is the mind that receives what you regularly do. Right? So if there is a habit you regularly do, it is stored in the subconscious. And once it has gone to the subconscious, it becomes like a program. It can happen anytime, without even you calling it. It's like how we train ourselves driving, all right? If you go to driving, the first day you are very careful with the accelerator, you are careful with the gear, you're careful with the brake, all right? But after some time of getting used, the driving is taken to your subconscious mind, and then you can drive making a call and making noise and doing everything else, because now you are really not thinking about it. It's already loaded in your mind. Now this is what I was trying to say. When we put now the negative things in the same mind, and we continuously put negative stuff, what starts coming out is now the negativity stuff. And it comes out without even your consciousness. Anytime it's just going to pop out something negative.
And I think in life we all I have this first of all, I have this idea, or there is this, I don't know what people call it, but there is this rule called 70-30% rule. Where whatever comes into your life, it is 70% how you accept it, and 30% the results. Like for example, if a hard situation came into your life, like a negative thing came into your life, and you received it positively, 70% the outcome is going to be positive. You know, and if it's something positive and you receive it negatively, 70% is going to come out negative. So whatever make sure most of the time in any situation be positive. And you can only be positive by meditating whatever you want it to happen to your life, you know. So if you think that you are constantly negative because of how you talked about the conscious and the subconscious mind, kindly meditate on the positive stuff,
things, continuously, repetitively.
Some things are hard, but keep on telling yourself, I can do it, it is possible, because at the end of the day, you're not the first person doing that thing. In this earth, there is always somebody who did that thing before you, and there will always be another person who will do it. So tell yourself, I'm not the first person, and I can do this, you know. Even if you feel like it's hard, but keep on telling yourself, meditate the words in your mind, and keep on being positive.
They say it takes 21 days to form a habit. So if at all you are doing negative, you have like 21 days to be positive.
After the habit, it becomes a character.
Now after we have done you have repeated, you form a new habit. And the new habit now forms a new character. So you can always try and change what you have been having, you have been putting in.
The other one is renew your mind.
Renew your mind.
Even the Bible says you renew our mind every single day.
Every now and then.
You can only master your mind when you put on things that you want to stay in your mind. Like we said, if you want to be positive, continue meditating on the positive stuff. So if you want your mind to be something that is going to be helpful to your life, then renew it by reading like books, you know, listening to good stuff that are going to help you, you know, just engaging yourself in things going to help you, so that your mind can be renewed every single day.
Every time we are refreshing our mind,
because like the food is the
what nourishes the
body. You know, renewing your mind is what grows your mind.
It is what you put in the
mind that grows. So the more you put a lot of good stuff, the more your mind becomes.
What are some of the sources? I think one of the sources maybe it is to exposure. Just expose your mind to new things, new perspectives. I have found people to be very, very stubborn when you share an idea that is not traditionally what they accept. Have you seen this? You're trying to tell someone something, and it's just a new idea. But they are so opposed to it, they won't listen, they don't want to hear about it.
Because they are not ready to renew their mind.
They are not willing to expose their minds. And I have found that people that have really mastered their mind, they will entertain a thought. Even if it's against their belief, they will entertain it to listen to what you are really trying to say. They will just listen. Sometimes it is not what you're used to. Sometimes it's something controversial. But the regular person will not entertain anything controversial. But a smart man or a smart woman will listen. They will not judge you. They probably they do not agree with you, but they will still take time and listen
to you.
And that is when you realize that you have tamed your mind. When you can sit and listen to something that is controversial without necessarily fighting the other person. You can listen to a different opinion without necessarily fighting.
Yeah, and you can also disagree with somebody without making them feel stupid.
Yes. Yeah. That is a way of mastering mind. If you cannot allow yourself to get new information, then you need to master your mind. You need to master your mind.
When I talk about, like, I can give an example of how we take different kind of foods, you know. When you come to Africa, there is a certain food that people can't eat.
Yes.
When you go to Asia, it's a different story. When you go to China, people are taking frogs, you know, and they're okay.
They're okay with that.
But for you can't take, because your mind is telling you, no, you will be sick or you will die. But the moment you renew your mind that, okay, this is a new thing, I didn't know from the time I was born, but now I know, you know, and you take it, you won't die, because other people are taking
are still doing.
Yeah, so sometimes just being rigid in our mind is not a good idea. Let us be flexible, explore ourselves, you know, expose yourself, you know, learn new things, you know, so that you can really master your mind.
Yeah, and maybe the final point I could add on renewing your mind is exposing yourself to some drills.
Yeah, true.
Some drills. I found out that if you have never ascended a mountain, try it.
Try it.
If you have never jumped off a cliff, try it. Go try something that thrills you. It's going to regenerate your mind. Because you are so used to the regular routines to a point that your mind has reached a point and never grows anything new. But once you have that adrenaline kicking, your mind brings in some new ideas. Yeah. So it is okay sometimes to thrill yourself.
Yeah.
Take a movie that you haven't watched. Take a ride that you haven't done, and just
try new things.
Yeah. It is going to help you in mastering how your brain operates. Try some things that you see risky, because sometimes our mind is our limit. Because there are things maybe I might find very hard to do, but Linda does them daily.
Yeah, exactly.
Sana, it's until I take the risk that I will know it's not as hard.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And sometimes the biggest risk is in your head.
Yeah, true.
It's not even physical.
It's your head.
The biggest risks you have to take is just exposing your mind to that new thing which you have refused to do for many days. And as you expose yourself, now you master how your mind operates. You master the fear in the mind. You master the confidence that comes from the mind. And that's how you grow.
Yeah, as I finish, I want to finish with this point. You know, at the beginning I said that mastering your mind is like being present in whatever is going on in your mind. And I just have to finish with this point that when you want to master your mind, kindly listen to your intuition. I don't know how other people call it, but for me, I call it the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
My intuition is the Holy Spirit. You know, sometimes you have that thing that is going on in your mind telling you, no, don't do this. Do this, you know.
Yes.
When you master to listen that inner spirit, that inner voice, for me, I call it the Holy Spirit. It will really help you in doing some stuff. You know, when you are in a position where you can listen to the inner spirit, the inner man talking to you, you know, because you always have two voices. The voice that is telling you not to do some stuff, and the other one is telling you no, do it. You know, and you always know the wrong voice and the right voice.
Yes.
So try and master that. Learn to listen to yourself. Learn to listen to that mind. What is it telling you?
The sixth sense.
Yeah, because that is the Holy Spirit. For me, that is the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Because when you know that, then sometimes it is even easier to do some stuff, because you know, oh, now this is the Holy Spirit telling me to do that, or the Holy Spirit is warning me not to do that.
Not to do this. Not to do this. Yeah.
So learn to listen to your intuition. People call it intuition. Whatever you.
Others call it gut feeling.
Gut feeling. You know it.
Consciousness.
There is that voice that talks to you, and you know that every time I follow this voice, I always
I'm right.
Yeah. You know, and when I know, I always get into trouble. So learn to listen to that. It will really help you in mastering your mind. As much as we want to do all this stuff from the outside, but also learn to listen to that thing that always guide you.
Yeah, you are your natural compass.
Yeah.
Maybe just to ask you a question even as we finish, how can we listen to this voice? What are some of the tips maybe on your personal life? How have you learned to listen to the voice? Because it's always there, but listening to it now is another job altogether.
Yeah, true. I always say this. that voice never goes away. We always run from it.
It is us who run from it.
But it never runs away from us. So the more you continue listening, if you know from the deepest of your heart that there is like a voice that is always right, when I ask myself, should I go on this way, on this road, or this road, there's something telling you go on this road.
Yes.
And when you go on this road, it is safe.
Yes.
And when you ignore that voice, you always end up in trouble. Kindly, if you know that voice, constantly listen to it.
Yes.
Never ignore, because once you ignore, it goes farther from you. But the moment you trust that voice, every time you listen to it, it comes closer.
And it becomes louder.
And it becomes louder.
Louder, yes.
You know?
Yes.
So, like I'll tell you, for me, I call it the Holy Spirit. The more I listen to the Holy Spirit, the more it becomes louder clearer, you know?
Yes.
You know, somebody tells you, I felt like my heart was telling me not to go to that place. You know?
Someone told me.
When you do ignore it,
we are always saying, something told me. Told me.
So listen to it more for it to be louder and clearer.
Yeah, what I'll say is that you develop it. It's developed because it's always there. But we are so used to listening to our senses, our regular senses, that we start ignoring it. All right. But it is always there.
It is always there.
The only way to learn from it is by constantly. That training. Devote yourself to listening to that voice. Even
if you don't, like in your eyes, you don't see the sense. Just listen to it.
Just obey. Make sure you are listening to it every time. And as she has said, it is going to become louder. And it's going to be now more effective in your life. It's going to warn you in more circumstances than it used to before. All right, but you must submit to that voice for it to come alive in your mind.
Think about it this way. When you stop listening to it, the more it comes far from you, it is far from you, the more the other voices becomes louder
in you. Right.
But the moment it comes closer to you, the other voice goes away from you. You know, so the more you become close to it, the more the other voice doesn't matter to you.
Yes.
And the other voices are other people, your fears, you know, whatever the situation is going on, like the world. These are the other voices.
The other voices.
Your negativity. But the moment it comes close to you, it blocks the other voices from coming in.
Absolutely. Zig Ziglar once said that you are where you are because of what has gone in your mind. And you will change where you are if you change that which is going to your mind. Master your mind today and change your life.
And your mind will take you far.
It will
as far as you want.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to our podcast or watching our YouTube video. We really hope that this video was informative because that is always the motive. But I think we are through. We are done for today. We will see you on our next video or our next podcast.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.